So the next artist is Nick Hutchings, a recent graduate from Washington University in St. Louis. And this is called Threshold Rendered. So he's thinking about the space between the viewer and the artwork. And you know, we normally have a certain relationship between our bodies and like the walls around us. And yet this wall has been sort of taken away from context and cut down to the smaller size, almost like the size of a mirror, and brought down to our level so that we can look into this little hole here. Now in the original performance piece, this was standing alone in a gallery, and he came up to it with a hammer and started hammering away, creating this hole, and then behind the drywall is about 100 or 200 sheets of paper that he meticulously tore apart with his hands to make a hole that goes all the way through it. Later on, he put this frame behind it, and what my interpretation, he hasn't said this to me himself, but my interpretation is that he's rethinking the role of the wall in the gallery. Usually the walls are in sort of your nice, high-style gallery are painted white, and the artwork pristinely rests on top of them, and it has nothing to do with the architecture. The architecture is just a backdrop. But in this case, the wall, yes, it's white, but it's no longer pristine. It has these really rough edges. And the artwork, instead of hanging on the wall, hangs behind the wall. And the wall itself becomes the oculus through which we look to see the artwork. So it's kind of a subversion of what we normally understand to happen in a gallery. When you look through here, what you see is a black frame with a black piece of plexiglass in it. And if you look long enough and your eye adjusts to the light, what you see is your own eye, because it's a reflection. This is a second piece by Nick Hutchings. It's called Window. And once again, we have the same element of the disembodied wall, the wall that was cut out of a larger wall. But there's another component to this. Instead of having a black frame behind it, this one has a lit space behind it, as you can see. And about 8 feet behind it is the projector that's shining light onto the back of this, which is a piece of frosted plexiglass. He's giving us the same kind of raw energy of the explosive hole in a piece of wall, the disembodied wall that talks about displacement, something permanent, a wall that's supposed to contain things being taken out of context and becoming an object that floats in space. And the projector, even though it doesn't project any information onto the back of this wall, does project light, which makes this an oculus that we see through. One of the things that he's trying to do with this piece is create something that is in some ways acts like a conventional piece of artwork, a framed rectangle that hangs just like a painting would. But in this case, we're also invited to sort of see what's happening backstage. And we can hear the sound of this old-fashioned slide projector that he bought especially for this piece, with the fan whirring. We're able to walk in between the piece itself and the projector so that we inhabit the same space that the sculpture does. And in doing so, our own images get projected onto this oculus here for other people to see. So the viewer becomes a part of the piece.